He's definitely the leader.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You're watching Top Flight Family. We're the Sognonvi family from New York City. And last year, we visited 21 resorts in 2021. Now that major cities around the world have reopened, this year we're visiting 22 cities in 2022. This is city number 11. So cute. Wow, look at these views. Look at the pools. We stayed at Four Seasons Hotel Miami. It's downtown, right on Brickell Avenue, so it's very centrally located. The property has a pretty amazing collection of contemporary art that reflects the Latin influences of Miami, including several massive sculptures by Colombian-born Fernando Botero. Good morning! We are heading down to breakfast, and then after that we're gonna go to the beach.
Let's go to the beach. Let's go to
Award-winning performance. But before we headed out, we wanted to check out the pool area.
Tan a little first.
I think you're a little big for these now. Maybe in the early days of Top Flight Family, you guys could have fit in here.
I'm coming.
Slay.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's go.
Leave a comment if you've seen the TikTok that we were referencing here. Alright, so we have a nice little setup here.
Painted beach. It's a little more quiet. It's not like South Beach. We rented umbrellas and beach chairs. I think it was $16 per chair and 20-something bucks for the umbrella. So you don't have to carry it. So we just brought towels from the hotel and we're all set up.
I made a hole. It looks super cute. It's supposed to be a heart. Is your oh, I see it. Okay, so this is my hole. Can you see it, Sean? Yeah. This is the hole. It's supposed to be a heart. It's not finished yet. But and also, when we were playing tag, there was like this coral thing, and it's squishy. Wait, put the camera around. It like rose back up. See, it's like a squishy foam. Oh my gosh! It looks like an octopus. Ew, throw it in the sea. Yeah. Oh my gosh! It broke!
So we are heading out for dinner. We are gonna go to Red Rooster, which is Marcus Samuelson's restaurant. If you watched our video about Baha Mar, you may remember that he's got a restaurant at that resort as well. So Red Rooster. Yeah, that Baha Mar restaurant is really good. So Red Rooster, the original one was in Harlem, in New York, which it still exists. Yeah. But I guess there's one in Miami too, so we're gonna go check it out. The Miami outpost of Red Rooster is located in historic Overtown, which was to Miami in the 1930s what Harlem was to New York. Known as Little Broadway, it was a busy entertainment destination. During the Jim Crow era, black artists like Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald weren't actually allowed to spend the night at the Miami Beach resorts where they performed. So instead, they'd stay at hotels in historic Overtown. In the 1960s, 2 major freeways were constructed, and this displaced thousands of residents in the neighborhood. But today, historic Overtown is seeing some signs of revitalization, and the opening of Red Rooster is one of those.
I kept on looking, but everyone's such a bore. And out of a sudden, you came through the door.
Hey, so we're having dinner with the amazing, they're beautiful girls. Their Instagram is The Traveling Child. You should definitely check them out. They're one of my favorite traveling families. Like Four Seasons, Red Rooster also has an impressive contemporary art collection on display. All around the restaurant you'll find works from black artists like Kara Walker, Derek Adams, Rasheed Johnson, and more.
forevermore. We're living in that vintage dream.
Okay, we are in Wynwood and we are going to be doing a little tour by golf cart of the street art here. So how did this formerly industrial neighborhood become the street art capital of Miami? Our guide explained how it all got started.
You had a real estate developer who literally bought buildings for artists to paint on. So it kind of really distinguishes from others. The late Tony Goldman bought over 24 buildings back in 2009. Multi-millionaire developer who turned around Soho in the 70s, South Beach in the 80s. And they thought this was the prime location because you have 50 square blocks of one-story windowless buildings, only 5 minutes from downtown Miami.
These one-story windowless buildings became the perfect blank canvas for street artists. Touring this area by golf cart is a great option. You can drive through areas that cars or buses aren't allowed in, and you can cover a much wider area than you could by foot. And of course, it doesn't hurt to escape the Miami heat. The art scene in Wynwood is all very curated and organized. So it's definitely not the kind of organic street art scene we explored in the East End of London, for example. But if you love street art, this is a great place to see the work of some of the top artists in the game right now.
You're watching Financial Analysis Hour with Sean and Ella.
So girls, there's a big NFT conference happening in Miami.
No.
Do you want to go?
These are freaking dumb. And I don't care if you decide to cancel us or unfollow us.
But you're visual artists, both of you. You don't believe in NFTs?
NFTs are not art. Why would you pay so much money for like something that's not even real? It's just like you can't even touch it. Like I'm just gonna take a screenshot.
So you're not into the crypto revolution?
No, I'm just gonna take a screenshot of the NFT and be like, yeah, I own it.
We needed to get out of the heat for a bit, so we headed to FUNDIMENSION. By the way, our family is visiting 22 cities in 2022, and Miami is the 11th one we've visited so far. Be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the next city we'll be visiting.
We're gonna show you what I got. This gun, like a cupcake, but it's squishy. This slime keychain, this purple shark. I got this. It's a flying disc. I also got this squishy ball, and you can't forget the slime.
There's a great Italian restaurant in Brickell called North Italia, which is where we met our friend Laura Scott and her 4 sweet girls. After dinner, we walked over to a local playground, and Sean and Ella had hours of fun playing with Laura's daughters. I've mentioned this before, but family travel doesn't always have to involve complicated plans. Some of Sean and Ella's favorite travel memories are from just playing with local kids at a playground. The next morning, we headed to South Beach to take a few photos for the gram and to just soak up the vibes. Welcome to South Beach.
We haven't been on South Beach in probably over 20 years.
Since before kids.
Before kids is where we used to go hang out.
Wasn't 20 years, maybe 15 years.
It's been a long, long time.
We used to come here quite a lot, actually, pre-kids, because it's a really short flight from New York. We'll come here for a weekend, party it up, hit some clubs. Now life is very different.
A little bit.
It used to be that we couldn't even afford to stay like here or on Collins. We had to stay on Washington, which is like one other block in.
Yeah, and the hotel was like, it had like free drinks from 5 to 7, like watered down drinks. I mean, it was everything you needed when you're in your 20s.
It's like $80 a night.
Yeah.
You know, you get a room, get free drinks to pregame.
Yeah. Instead of crossing the street, you walk 2 blocks to the beach.
Exactly.
You'll deal with that, you know what I mean? So it's got a lot of good memories here.
We walked by the iconic Palace Bar, and the girls were absolutely enthralled by the drag performers.
Happy Sunday! Happy Sunday!
All right, so we just passed by the Versace mansion, which is, of course, the former home of Gianni Versace, who was unfortunately murdered right here on the street. And it is now a restaurant, and apparently, according to TikTok, home to a very expensive and a very bad Caesar salad. The girls insisted on having lunch at Sugar Factory, Not because of the food, but of course because of these shakes. Ooh, wow. Oh my god, is that all cotton candy? Wow, thank you. Ooh. Can I be in your TikTok? Yeah. Wow. Haitians are the second largest immigrant community in Miami after Cubans. But their cultural contributions to the city are not as widely celebrated, to put it mildly. We wanted to learn more about this community, so we headed to Little Haiti for a tour of the neighborhood. We met our guide at the beautiful Little Haiti Cultural Center. Haiti has a remarkable history of courage and resilience, but its people have endured a lot of misfortune too. In 1791, a group of formerly enslaved Africans, led in part by Toussaint Louverture, organized the first successful slave revolt in history and succeeded in overthrowing the French colonialist rule. Haiti became the first free black republic in the world, the first independent state in the Caribbean, and the first nation to permanently ban slavery and the slave trade from the first day of its existence.
So if you look at this setting, that's how your market in Haiti looks like. You have the vendors, each of them have a different product to sell, but some of them have a mixture. Like for her, it's about food. Like I said, Little Haiti is not just by the name, it's also about how people live as well.
One thing many people don't know is that Haiti was forced at literal gunpoint to pay reparations to France for its freedom. Over 122 years, Haiti paid French slaveholders and their descendants the equivalent of 20 to 30 billion in today's dollars. As you can imagine, these reparations had a devastating impact on the young nation's economy, one that is still felt today. The New York Times recently did an in-depth investigative series into these reparations that they called the RANSOM. I'll link the series below because it's really eye-opening.
It's pretty much one of the most prestigious drinks you can have. If you think of wine, the finest wine you can think of, this is our version of that.
That sounds like our go-to, let's say, breakfast. It's like a corny meal. I bet it was pretty much what I would eat when I was in school. So this one is the cashew.
Between political upheavals, natural disasters, corruption, and lack of economic opportunity, Haitians have not had an easy time. So it's not surprising that many Haitians move to other countries like the United States in hopes of finding a better life.
Up here there are some interesting animals, so we're gonna go up here first.
Wow.
So if you speak Spanish.
Big one on the bottom.
Oh!
La 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 la.
Whoa. Ba, 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 ba. We ended our time in Little Haiti with dinner at Naomi's Garden Restaurant and Lounge. Hey. He's definitely the leader. Oh my god. So Sean got fried chicken with, what's that, mac and cheese?
Yeah, and plantains.
And plantains. And what'd you get?
Snapper, I think. Yeah, red snapper.
Some rice and peas.
Yep.
Plantains. And I got something I've never tried before called lalo with baked chicken. So I'm guessing this is the lalo. Supposed to be similar somewhat in texture to okra. And I got some collard greens and some rice and beans. We are in Little Havana today, and we're going to be doing a little walking tour and a street food tour. This is not part of the Little Havana street food.
And canned water.
Fruit Loops are not traditionally a Cuban cuisine, I don't think.
Are you sure?
Well, we'll find out today.
You can see that.
We feel some drops, but it's okay because why?
We have an emergency poncho with
Our guide
with
gave
the hood.
us.
With the hood. With a hood.
We're in Little Havana, also known as Calle Ocho, but it's actually not so little. It goes all the way from 38th Street to 4th Street, and if you go 3 blocks each way, you're gonna start finding the residential homes. A lot of the locals still live here. It seems very touristic, but a lot of the locals still live here, and so we're gonna meet a lot of them today. So today we're gonna have picadillo empanada.
What do you think?
Scrumptious. I've had one of these with cheese in it. It's good.
How many of you have seen one of these? A mug of hot. You got one at home? We're gonna grab this. We're gonna open it up. Put the water in here. Put coffee, but you're gonna put as much as coffee as you can, really tight. Put this back on there. And then we're gonna put it on the stove. and watch it. Do not leave, because we want that very first coffee that's gonna come out. Then you're gonna take 2 tablespoons of sugar, put it in your cup, put that very first coffee that you got, and then you're gonna whisk it up. And it's gonna make espumita or little foam. This is little foam. You guys see it in there?
Yep.
And if you don't have this, then you don't have Cuban coffee.
Nice smell it.
Smells really good.
Nice smell it.
Yep. Smell it.
And super strong.
Very sweet. Very strong.
I know.
It's very strong.
This is a guayabera. Look, why do they call it guayabera? It has something to do with the guava fruits. This was made in the late 1800s for a Cuban working farmer. So you put your guava fruits here. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that goes there because you already know. Look at me and look at him. Look, this is the first cigar.
Surprisingly, the Cuban sandwich didn't actually originate in Cuba.
Can you guys guess where?
Here.
Go a little lower.
Key West.
Colombia?
Key West. It did start in Key West. So there was over 30 factories in Key West for cigar factories. Now, they needed to get their money out of the workers, so what was the easiest thing to make them so they could work and eat? A sandwich. So they realized that the Cubans love pork, and that's why they added pork.
The cigar industry eventually migrated north to Tampa, which had a large Italian immigrant community. That's why if you order a Cuban sandwich in Tampa, it'll have salami in it. Not here in Miami, though.
I like the little chips. Hello, you like the sandwich?
This is Pepe. So there was an artist that lived here in this block, and he had a rooster named Pepe, and Pepe died. So he felt he should make a pepper mache Pepe and put him out on the corner. And what did somebody do? They stole him. So he said, you know what, I'm gonna make these 70-pound ones where nobody can take them. And ever since then, we have just been rolling them out all the time, and this is our newest one, and he's been here 3 months. And if you look right over there, that's Fernando.
But roosters are also one of the most beloved animals throughout the Caribbean and Latin America. And all over Miami, you'll find chickens and roosters just walking around. So in many ways, this series of rooster sculptures really captures the diversity of cultures that you'll find here in Miami.
All right, so this was a really big movement that happened. There is a wife, and her husband was jailed incorrectly, and she felt that the only way to protest against the government was to dress in all white with a flower and walk the streets of Cuba. She had no idea what she was doing because the week after, a whole bunch of women that were going through something similar as well showed up with a flower. Now, this became a huge movement all over, South America, Caribbean, and we often use this in Venezuela as a protest, dressing in all white. So if you guys see somebody in front of a governmental building dressed in all white, that's what they're doing, peaceful protesting.
Back at Four Seasons, we ended the day with a lovely dinner at their steakhouse, Edge Steak and Bar. Javier, a longtime friend of Serge's from back in their office job days, came by to say hi. If you're into cars and custom vans, be sure to check out Javier's Instagram. I'll link it below. Miami is a great place to party, as Serge and I did plenty of in our 20s. But visiting 15 years later, now as a family, we found that there was plenty to do with kids as well. Many cities claim to be a cultural melting pot, but Miami truly delivers on that promise. On this trip, we barely scratched the surface of the rich mix of cuisines, cultures, and histories you can find in this city. Okay, that was city number 11 of the 22 cities we're visiting in 2022. If you'd like to check out city number 12, just click that video right there. If you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Top Flight Family. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.